KennyHensley.com, and I'm here in New York City in the back room of some mysterious pub with Kenny Hensley, keys player and virtuoso songwriter for the Head and the Heart. And we're here to get lost in the mind of Kenny for the next few moments. So you grew up in California?
Yeah, I grew up in Los Angeles, and actually was born in Riverside, California, which is about an hour and a half south of LA, but moved there when I was 1, and grew up in the San Fernando Valley. And after high school, didn't really know what I was going to do with myself. Didn't want to go to school because I had no idea. I wanted to play music, but I didn't want to end up being some music teacher.
When did you start playing music?
My dad was a guitar player, not professionally, but was in bands growing up. And so I grew up playing the guitar from the age of 5 till now, but never really got serious about it. So I'm not an amazing guitar player, but I know how to do it good enough. And I think I was about 16 or so. My dad bought a nice keyboard for the house, and I started messing around on that thing and just kind of fell in love with it and started playing it every day. And after a couple of years of having that keyboard, I think my dad could see that I really was in love with writing music on keys or on piano, keyboard, whatever you want to call it. So he rented an upright piano and put it in my bedroom. So I had a small room, but had this upright. It's like $50 a month. It wasn't this huge expense, but had an upright piano in my bedroom, and so I'd wake up and play on that and just kind of taught myself over time.
So you'd never taken lessons? You were all self-taught?
Yeah. I never took lessons or any of that. And always in the back of my mind thought I'd love to the dream is being in a band and do this whole thing, but never met anyone my age that I was impressed by musically or would want to put the time in with. And so I just kept practicing and playing on my own, and moved around a bit after high school, just kind of looking for something. And eventually my sister said, this was 2.5 years ago, a little over 2.5 years ago, my sister told me, who's my best friend, really close, she said, you need to get the hell out of here, go to Austin, go to Seattle, go to a city that has a good music scene, and meet people and get serious about it for once, so that at least you've tried, And so I think a week later I was driving up to Seattle, just on my own.
Just on her, sort of took inspiration.
Yeah, she inspired. There were a few. I was kind of starting to think the same thing. I was I'm still at mom and dad's house, I'm doing nothing, and my parents are starting to think you're getting to the age where you should start going to school or do something,
right.
Take yourself seriously. And so yeah, I just took her word and went with it. And
why Seattle?
I had been there once before and just loved the city, and I just knew Seattle had a good thing going on musically, and thought it'd be cool. And I knew one person in Seattle, Brad Stemke, who's a friend of my sister's, and he said if I moved up I could stay in his basement until I found a place, until I kind of caught on. And so I went up there to his place and started looking around for work and for a job and a place to live. And I think less than 2 weeks, a week and a half after moving there, I went to a bar down the street from where I was staying, Connor Byrne, which was where the band started, to watch a Laker game. And a few of my friends that were touring through were playing that night. And I just was hanging out. And John and Josiah, with some of their other friends, they had also just met, opened the show. And I remember sitting with my friends and watching them, and for the first time being wow, these guys, they have really good voices. I really like these guys' songs, they're amazing. And so I introduced myself to them after the show, and 2 days later we were writing, we were in the downtown library in Seattle, writing down in the valley.
Wow.
Which just kind of happens effortlessly.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing, sort of almost the coincidences or the fate of everybody coming together.
Yeah, it happened almost too effortlessly. It was scary how easy it was.
Did you have a main musical influence growing up, or has someone really kind of inspired your piano playing?
Paul McCartney.
Really?
My dad's a huge Beatles, McCartney fan, and so I grew up with it alongside Bob Dylan and Paul Simon and Carly Simon Nash. But McCartney, just his melody writing, and not even necessarily his piano playing, but just the way he writes melodies and the way he writes songs has always been by far my main inspiration. And so anytime I try to write something on piano, it's kind of mimicking something that he might write.
Right. Which is interesting, because when I asked John this, so what he said was John Lennon. Mm-hmm. And you can hear in a lot of music. He
always bash on who's better. And I love John Lennon to death, but McCartney's something else in my mind.
But it is nice. I think people who listen to The Head and the Heart definitely hear a little bit of that sort of real, rootsy, authentic Beatles kind of influence. And it's interesting how from each of you there is sort of that inspiration.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, as far as the Beatles and McCartney influence, the changes in our songs, the transitions, you know, like Sounds Like Hallelujah, there's like the kind of 3 parts, and that was kind of like when I met John and Josiah. It's like they were writing these songs that were amazing, and I came in and like had this like, I want to write Paul McCartney songs, but I can't sing, and I'm not a poet, I'm not a great lyricist, but like I can use these guys, be like, let's put this here, and this here, and this here, and make a song out of it, you know.
Well, I mean, I think to me, and I think to a lot of the fans, that's really the great thing about The Head and the Heart, is that everybody sort of plays a different role and contributes in a different way to the on-stage process, and as you're saying, also to the songwriting and the development process. And that's kind of exciting. So, you know, things have been booming for The Head and the Heart, obviously, over the last little bit, and now the launch of this, second recorded release of this these iTunes sessions, and how is that? How have you been processing sort of the rapid rise of the band?
To be honest, you kind of just, because I'm stuck in the middle of it all the time, you just get used to it without even having time to think about it. You know, like there are times I look, you know, like I go on iTunes and look and see like, oh, like you see like the iTunes, like alternative charts or whatever, and I see our band on there and I check it time to time, and at first it blew my mind. I like to see our album cover on there, like number 79, and I was like, what in the world? Now, like things like that are crazy, but you really do just get used to it, and because you're so caught up. You know, there are a few moments like the first, like doing late night shows and things like that kind of take you back, and you're like, wow, we're actually here doing this. But as far as playing shows and touring and all that comes with being in a band that's successful, you could call it, you know, like it's kind of just a natural progression of I don't know, of life, I guess. Like you just totally get used to it.
Right. So in all the places that you guys have been in, you know, I know you've been to Europe, you're on your way to Australia. Yeah. Is there any one place that stands out, kind of a place that's been a favorite spot for you to play, favorite city, favorite venue kind of thing?
I think for me it always depends on the people. Like I always love going down to LA because my family and friends come out. And so like those shows I look forward to more than any others. Seattle's always the best because we have the most loyal fan base there, and the shows are just insane. So I always love going there. New York's fun too. New York is like, I remember early on in the band, Tyler, our drummer, he was the only one that kind of played New York. He was from the East Coast, and he was like, New York's really hard to crack. Like, New York's gonna hate us. We're gonna have a hard time there. And we've kind of lucked out, I think, and played in front of the right people because we seem to do really well out here. So I love playing New York. But yeah, I really think it's mainly like if I have a good friend that I haven't seen in a while. That's the best thing about touring so much, is that you see these people that, you know, without the band I would see once every 5 years, and now I'm seeing them 4 or 5 times a year. Like friends that live in different states or different cities. And I think it's mainly that, yeah. It's just like if I have a really good friend or somebody that I'm really looking forward to seeing and spending time with, if they're in that city, then I'm looking forward to that show. But yeah.
So turns out not where, but who you're with that really matters.
Yeah, for me at least. Yeah.
Said. So as things now progress, do you have a vision or a dream of sort of where you'd like to see things go in the future, where you'd like to end up? What's your ultimate kind of fantasy with this band?
To me, I mean, I'm sure others in the band would have their own opinions, but for me, there's no limit at all. Like I'm like a lot. I always hear people say like that band sold out, or that band like they're playing stadiums now. They're just like a sellout. They're on the radio, and I just don't buy any of that. And you know, if I could choose where we're gonna be 10 years from now, we'd be playing football stadiums, you know, and just doing the biggest like Queen did, playing like Wembley Arena, you know. Like I just like the bigger the better. I just want to keep going, and there's no end in my mind. I want to play until the day I die, and I want to play shows till the day I die, and I want to keep doing this and get bigger and bigger and bigger, and hopefully write better and better songs till the day I die.
I mean, it's pretty amazing that it sounds like, you know, this was your dream growing up, and you know, amazingly, you're one of the people that has had, you know, the opportunity that life has unfolded in a way that you actually get to kind of, at least for now, really go down the road towards those dreams. And
yeah, it's really strange. You have to always remind yourself too, like when you're at shows and you see, you know, 15, 16, 17-year-old boys watching, and, you know, because I'm a boy, I relate to it more. And I just like think I have to take myself back to going to shows in LA at 15 and 16 or 16 and just looking up, like, oh, I just want to be on that stage so bad, but I have no idea how to do it. And I think it's important to remind yourself that, you know, we are doing that now, and it's insane.
So what would you tell those sort of, what kind of message would you leave for those younger fans who are interested in pursuing, you know, that kind of dream? You know, what would you
say? I don't know, I guess just play a lot, you know, and don't, I don't know, it sounds so cliche and typical, but just, you know, just don't stop and don't be held down by like what friends or family think, you know, like if you have parents that are telling you to go to school but you don't want to and you want to pursue music, then pursue music, you know, like do it. And that's kind of like our band name, you know, Josiah came up with it, but like he was in, you know, he was like had a good job and was going to school and kind of dropped it for music, and that was it. It was like he inside his heart wanted to play music, but he had gone with his head for a few years and kind of flipped back over to the good side. And, you know, I just think, like, one life, you might as well do what you like doing, even if you don't get rich doing it.
I agree. It doesn't hurt to get rich, though. I will say that.
Yeah.
Not that any of us really just yet. So, as we've asked all the band members, so to sum it up in a word, if you get when those moments on tour, when you do get to catch your breath, those moments you get lost in your own mind. So, in one word, where is that place where your mind goes?
If I get lost in my mind,
as we all do, you know.
Yeah.
So where does your mind go in one word?
To whatever I'm looking at on the floor. I don't know. Floor. I guess.
I like it.
Just staring at something and just nothing, you know.
You know, something to be said for living in the present. Anyways, Kenny, thank you for taking the time. I want to wish you guys a lot of luck in the future.
Yeah.
Going down a great, great road.
You too.
Follow your hearts. Cheers.
Don't know where they are. I don't know where they are. My roots have grown, but I don't know.